Today we have a very special guest for our In-Depth today. We have joining us via a video call now, the Minister of Gender Equality and Family, Kim Hyun-sook. She is joining us today to talk about the 25th World Scout Jamboree, which is being hosted by South Korea from Tuesday. But she has also graciously agreed to answer questions about the ministry and its role and some key issues that it's looking to address, such as the nation's chronically low birth rate and the gender pay gap. So, to learn more about the government's position on these issues and how preparations have been going for the World Scout Jamboree, we have with us Minister Kim Hyun-sook joining us now. Minister Kim, hello, and thank you for your time today.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Yes, we very much appreciate you taking the time to be with us, as I'm sure you're very busy, especially preparing for the World Scout Jamboree. But before we get to that, first, can we start with the basics for our listeners? Could you tell us about the Gender Equality and Family Ministry itself? Because, of course, not every country has such a ministry. What does the ministry do, and what are its goals?
The Ministry of Gender Equality and Family strives to build an inclusive society where no one and no family is left behind. To be more specific, our ministry is expanding the eligibility for support to single-parent families and strengthening targeted, comprehensive support that is tailored to the specific needs of various family types, such as families with adolescent parents, grandparents' families, and single-person household. Moreover, we are offering a wide range of an activity program to enable our youth to grow into pursuing young talent while working diligently to establish a safety net for at-risk youth with support for counseling, protection, and self-reliance, to name a few. One of the most critical roles of our ministry is also to ensure that there are no blind spots in the protection of the victims from reporting to the recovery of damages for the 5 major types of violence: power-based sex crimes, digital sex crimes, domestic violence, dating violence, and stalking crimes. That's what we do.
Right, so it's under this administration particularly that emphasis has been on family and crimes against women as well. I understand that it's been over a year since you took office as the Minister of Gender Equality and Family. That was in June last year. How have you found your time as Minister? Can you tell us about what your job involves and what policies you paid most attention to?
The policy I have diligently prioritized over the past 1 year was the youth policy. I strongly believe that in an era marked by significant declines in birth rate, it is crucial to effectively implement youth policies in a way that nurtures each and every young individual as a healthy, valuable asset for the future. Last year, we announced comprehensive measures to strengthen support for youth inside and outside of schools to ensure that adolescents receive sufficient support for growth within and beyond the schools. We are also carrying out youth policy companionship with the municipal and provincial government and office of education. Since the COVID-19 pandemic, we have also significantly scaled up programs for mental health care of at-risk adolescents, such as those facing suicide and self-harm risk. We have also stepped up the protection of adolescents from emerging and evolving harmful environment brought on by room carpets, drugs, and online gambling, among others. Now, I would like to emphasize my stance on family policies as well. We have broadened the scope of people eligible for child care subsidies for single-parent households, with approximately 20,000 additional individuals to benefit this year. Moreover, budget for child care subsidies for single-parent families increased by the largest margin of 17.7% from last year. Lastly, under the principle of a victim-centered approach and together tougher penalties, we are meticulously carrying out a key national policy agenda for protecting and supporting the victims of five major types of violence. The Act on Protection of Victims of Stalking was enacted in January this year and was enforced starting in July. Additionally, we have established and are operating an integrated solution support group on a pilot basis to eliminate the need for victims suffering multiple harms to visit each support agency separately.
Well, yes, it's interesting, especially talking about your focus on youth. I guess the World Scout Jamboree, it's fitting that we're talking about that today as well. While we have you today, we did want to ask you some other questions about some pressing issues that the country is facing, some issues that the ministry is supposed to be tackling. When we talk about families in Korea, one of the most pressing issues facing the nation is the declining birth rate. And
Yeah, right.
you've previously said that the situation is so dire that scholars around the world are studying the case of Korea now. The birth rate in South Korea is 0.78, which is the lowest among countries in the world. How do you view the country's falling birth rate and how should it be tackled?
Is very serious problem. To tackle the challenge of low birth rate, it is imperative to foster a family-friendly workplace culture that promotes sustainable work-life balance, enabling both men and women to work and care for their families together, along with the necessary changes in the social environment. To alleviate the burden of childcare for dual-income families, among others, the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family is planning to triple the capacity of the personal child care service at home by 2027, which is currently being utilized by around 80,000 households. Additionally, we'll take a step to expand the government subsidies for multi-child households with two or more children who choose to avail of this service. Moreover, to make the personal child care service at home more reliable and trustworthy for the users, we plan to overhaul the workforce training system for both public and private care workers and implement a national qualification system and a registration system for private service providers. Furthermore, we have put in place the family-friendly certification system since 2008 to foster a family-friendly workplace culture for working together and caring together. As of 2022, over 5,400 companies have received family-friendly certification to date. Moving forward, we'll be actively seeking more effective incentives to encourage even broader participation of companies.
Right, you started there talking about the workplace culture. That leads us to another issue that Korea has been facing, and that's the importance of bridging the economic gap between men and women in order to realize gender equality. It's something that I know you've talked about before as well. I have some stats here. According to labor groups, South Korea's gender wage gap came to 31% as of 2021, the highest among 38 OECD member states. In other words, female workers earned 31% less than their male counterparts on average. And you've also talked about childcare. Another issue that women are facing in the workplace as well are it's pressure to quit their jobs as they have difficulty pursuing both their career and childcare. How do you view these issues? What measures do you think need to be taken to address these issues as well?
The gender pay gap in Korea stands at 31.1%, which is the largest among OECD countries, as you mentioned, and also significantly higher than the OECD average of 11.9% for 21 member countries. Therefore, addressing the gender pay gap can be considered one of the key tasks in achieving gender equality in the economic domain. Above all, we recognize the importance of enabling women to have uninterrupted careers and remaining actively engaged in the labor market. Last year, we expanded our policy paradigm for supporting women with career interruption by shifting our focus from providing reemployment assistance to preventing career interruption. This policy approach aims to minimize the attrition of women from the labor market. We plan to operate job competency enhancement programs for parental leave takers in the software and AI industries to prevent their exit from the labor market. Particularly for women with career interruptions, we'll scale up online classes and other vocational education and training in promising emerging fields that offer more flexibility in terms of location and time, while also bolstering job referral services. In addition, we'll diversify employment forms such as platform-based work, local jobs, and entrepreneurship, and broaden the scope of job opportunities that are aligned with regional industrial characteristics. Moreover, we plan to strengthen career path consulting services for young women throughout their entire life cycle, as well as support for women in career changes or transition for the digital field. Furthermore, we aim to reinforce care support for working parents by expanding personal childcare service at home and create a family-friendly and gender-balanced corporate environment, among others, to promote a culture that encourages working-life balance.
Well, it's clear then that there are a lot of measures that the ministry is pursuing to solve some of these issues. And it sounds like you have your hands full. I understand that there's also an event coming up, the annual Korea Gender Equality Forum that will be held in September. Can you give us details about this event? What's the significance of it and what do you hope to discuss there?
Sure. The Ministry of Gender Equality and Family organized the annual Korea Gender Equality Forum, an international conference held to commemorate to Gender Equality Week in September. This year, the forum is scheduled to take place on September 21st at the 63 Convention Center in Yeouido with the theme of the era of low birth rate, a society for working together and caring together. The upcoming forum will bring together representatives from international organizations, domestic and foreign researchers, corporate executives, and other participants to collectively explore avenues for addressing the issue of low birth rate from a gender equality perspective. Specifically, sessions are being prepared to involve ambassadors from major countries who will present and share policy experience from their respective nations. In relation to the theme of a society of working together, the forum will primarily focus on narrowing gender pay gap in the labor market and spreading gender balanced and gender equal corporate cultures. As for the theme of a society of caring together, the discussions will center on topics such as policy directions for child care support, with a particular focus on family care, expanding the role of social care, and disseminating a culture of care.
Right, so it sounds like the forum will be tackling a lot of the issues that we've been talking about today. So hopefully it will be a fruitful one for the ministry and for everyone who takes part. Let's go back to where we started today, which is another major event that we wanted to mention today that's coming up. That's the 25th World Scout Jamboree. And you are a member of the organisation committee. For those who don't know, for any listeners who don't know, this is a massive international event that only takes place every 4 years in selected cities around the world, a bit like the Olympics. This year, there are 43,000 teenagers from 150 countries that will be attending, starting officially tomorrow, August 1st, and carrying on until the 12th at Saemangum in North Jeolla province. So, Minister, can you tell us how have the preparations for this year's World Scout Jamboree been?
As you mentioned, the 25th World Scout Jamboree 2023 Saemangum will be held in Saemangum, Jeollabuk-do from August 1st to 12th this year. The World Scout Jamboree, which had its inaugural event in London, UK in 1920, has a rich history spanning over 100 years, with the 25th event stated for this year. It is a celebration of the young youth held every 4 years, bringing together scouts from around the globe to camp outdoors and engage in various hands-on activities and exchanges for some 10 days. The World Scout Jamboree carries great significance in that it contributes to the global empowerment of young people around the world. Facilitation of public diplomacy through exchange in the private sector and promotion of regional economy and balanced development. Notably, this year's event will offer an opportunity for youth from around the world who have been exhausted from the pandemic to come together in Korea and forge friendship. In this process, they will rejuvenate their minds and bodies, finding the strength to return to their daily lives. Furthermore, we anticipate that this event will serve as a grand celebration, reigniting the excitement, the Korean wave, including K-pop.
Indeed, of course. Uh, I'm sure the government has done everything it can to get ready. I'm sure everything hopefully will run smoothly. I understand there has been some weather issues as well, but yes, I'm sure it is everything will be ready. Can you tell us what we can look forward to at this year's event? Is well, how is this year's perhaps different from previous events?
We have many different things. This upcoming 25th World Scout Jamboree 2023 Semangum will be the first large-scale international youth event since the COVID-19 pandemic and the largest ever in history, with over 43,000 participation from around 158 countries worldwide. The theme of this event is Draw Your Dream, and its most notable features include the global promotion of K-culture and the utilization of metaverse platforms, among other elements, making it a digital jamboree. We have also organized a diverse array of special activity programs, including K-pop concert, to enable youth from around the world to experience, enjoy K-pop and K-food. Through this jamboree, we anticipate the K-culture will extend its reach throughout the entire world, further elevating Korea's profile as a culture powerhouse. Moreover, we are excitedly anticipating that the upcoming jamboree will become even smarter than ever by harnessing Korean exceptional information and communications technology and advanced electronic equipment technologies like AR and VR into its event and program. As part of the main programs, we have prepared a range of on-site and off-site activities within the campground. Participants can engage in the traditional Korean games while in Jeonju Hanok Village, uh, Buan, Jigsocheon, and Gosapo Beach. They can explore the nature, tradition, and history of Korea. Not only Scout members, but also ordinary citizens are welcome to take part as day visitors and experience a wide range of exciting programs. We highly encourage you to bring your children along and visit this Jamboree venue to enjoy your time together.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a fun event for the Scouts and guests and for anyone who attends the event. We wish you luck with it. As a final thought, Minister, we'd like to get your thoughts on what's next for you. What do you hope to achieve during your time as Minister? Just to wrap up.
This year, our ministry will concentrate its capability on three key areas: expanding women's participation in economic activities, that's the first one; addressing the issue of low birth rate, that's the second one; and supporting the growth of youth. First and foremost, we'll establish a pan-government council for female workforce development to reinforce cross-ministerial coordination and cooperation, with a view to enabling outstanding female talent to pursue high-quality jobs in fields such as digital technology, semiconductor, and biotechnology. In addition, we are committed to working together with the private sectors to promote work-life balance and a culture of gender equality within workplace through the Happy Companionship initiative in promoting dialogue with exemplary companies that have enhanced the gender balance, as well as women business leaders and women entrepreneurs organizations. We strive to create a society of gender equality where everyone can experience happiness. On the other hand, we also devote significant effort to tackling the issue of low birth rate, which is directly linked to our country's national competitiveness. To that end, our work will focus on enhancing care support, specifically through the expansion of personal child care service at home, promoting a culture of shared responsibility between men and women, and fostering work-life balance in the private sector through the family-friendly corporation certification system. Moreover, we'll continue our collaboration with education offices nationwide, as well as municipal and provincial government, to ensure that the various youth support measures that have been announced are effectively implemented on the ground.
Well, we'll have to leave it there. We've been speaking to the Minister of Gender Equality and Family, Kim Hyun-sook. Thank you once again for your time today, Minister.
Thank you for invitation.